At number 10, Jay Pickett. Soap opera actor Jay Pickett, known for his time on General Hospital, passed away on July 30th of this year at the age of 60. Jay was a soap opera legend, having been part of the cast of a number of shows like Days of Our Lives, where he played Dr. Chip Latkin, Port Charles, and obviously General Hospital, where he portrayed the character Detective David Harper. The most recent project Jay was working on was a film called Treasure Valley, but sadly the actor passed away during the project's filming. Jay's passing came suddenly and tragically, as a producer for Jay's upcoming film released a statement following the actor's death that said, quote, "Many of you already heard about the tragedy that happened 2 days ago. Jay Pickett, our leading man, writer, producer, and creator of this movie, passed away suddenly while we were on location preparing to film a scene," end quote. There was no official cause of death released at the time, but it is believed that the actor passed away due to a sudden heart attack. In the producer's statement, they elaborated on how hard they tried to keep Jay with us, saying, quote, "Everyone present tried as hard as they could to keep him alive. Our hearts are broken and we grieve for his family who are so devastated by the shocking tragedy." Jay's passing has been felt heavily by fans of his work, so he surely will not be forgotten. At number 9, Robert Downey Sr. Robert Downey Sr., father of Marvel actor Robert Downey Jr., passed away peacefully in his sleep on July 7, 2021 after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. Robert Downey Sr. was known as a pioneer of the underground film scene in New York City in the 1960s. He got his first big break with the film Putney Swope, and this put him on the map, set him up for success, and from then on he became a legend in the film industry, both as an actor and director. His success later continued into the 70s and 80s as he worked on projects like The Twilight Zone, Matlock, To Live and Die in LA, Boogie Nights, and Magnolia. But other than growing his own success, he also aided in the growth and success of others, most notably his son, who began acting alongside him in the early days of his own career. Robert Downey Jr. released a statement following his father's passing, informing the world of the tragedy the Downey family was facing on his Instagram, where he said, quote, "Last night Dad passed away peacefully in his sleep after years of enduring the ravages of Parkinson's. He was a true maverick, filmmaker, and remained remarkably optimistic throughout. According to my stepmom's calculations, they were happily married for just over 2,000 years. Rosemary Rogers Downey, you are a saint and our thoughts and prayers are with you," end quote. Now before I carry on with the list, I would like to ask you guys to leave a comment down below sending a positive message for the families on this list. Losing a loved one is never easy, so let's send them some positive energy their way. At number 8, Sonny Chiba. Actor and martial artist Sonny Chiba recently passed away on August 19th of this year at the age of 82. Sonny was known as one of the first Japanese actors to gain international notoriety for his martial arts skills. Before he became famous in American cinema, Sonny first got his big break in Japan in the 1960s, portraying samurai, police detectives, and quote, anti-heroes trying to survive in a violent world, all while doing his own stunts. It wasn't until the film Street Fighter hit American cinemas that Sonny's career in the US started to take off. He attracted the attention of director Quentin Tarantino, and the actor was later cast in the film Kill Bill. From then, Sonny went on to star in films like Aces and even made an appearance in the film Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Sonny brought popularity to martial arts style films, and he will certainly be remembered for that, along with all of his talent and skill. At number 7, Kevin Clark. If you are a fan of the 2003 movie School of Rock, then you are probably among those who are devastated to hear about the sudden passing of one of the film's stars, Kevin Clark. Kevin, who played the character Freddie Jones, aka Spazzy McGee, passed away on May 26th of this year at the age of only 32 years old after being involved in a tragic accident. According to news reports, Kevin had been riding his bike in a Chicago neighborhood in the early hours of the morning when he was struck by a vehicle. The actor was later rushed to hospital but sadly didn't make it. Kevin's death hit his family very hard because it was so sudden and so unexpected, and because he reportedly finally got into a good place in his life. When making a statement about Kevin's passing, the actor's mother told sources, quote, "He told his bandmates just yesterday, you know, this is finally the life I want to live, and we're going to make it. You're my musical family, my family, and we're all going to make it," end quote. Kevin had just started a new band and they performed for the first time on the weekend before he passed. Before this band, he was known for forming other musical groups and writing songs and teaching kids about music. His love for music and his drumming skills are actually what led him to getting the role in School of Rock, even though he had no prior acting experience. Kevin was an incredibly talented man who is certainly gone too soon. At number 6, Sean Connery. Sir Sean Connery was best known for his incredible talent, especially for playing the unforgettable and iconic James Bond. He was the first actor to bring the iconic character to life and starred in a total of 7 Bond films. His successful career spanned over 70 years, and he even earned an Academy Award in 1988 for his role in The Untouchables. Sadly, the actor passed away on October 31st, 2020 in his sleep while in his home in the Bahamas. The Scottish actor was surrounded by his family at the time of his passing. His talent and refinement as an actor defined an era and a style in the film industry, and the unforgettable charm and charisma that he portrayed on screen is something that defined his career in Hollywood. Sean was an inspiration to so many performers, forging a path for so many other talented people to make their way to Hollywood to try and achieve the same infamy me as Connery. At number 5, Cicely Tyson. After having a career that spanned over 70 years, renowned actress and black icon Cicely Tyson passed away on January 28, 2021 at the age of 96. Cicely was best known for her portrayal of strong black women in TV and film. The actress became a beloved Hollywood icon through her work as an actress, model, and author, and at the beginning of 2021, Cicely published a memoir titled Just As I Am, where she shared the story of her life, how she became who she was, and how she was a pioneering force in shaping history. Cicely first started her public career as a model, later transitioning into the performing arts, making her way to Broadway, where she acted alongside other talented people like James Earl Jones and Louis Gossett. In the 1960s, Cicely launched herself into a hugely successful TV and movie career, where she made a point of prioritizing roles that, quote, showed the full lived experiences of black Americans. Tyson later continued her career into the 70s, where she starred in the hugely successful series Roots, and later starred in more modern shows like How to Get Away with Murder. Other than her film and TV awards and nominations, Cicely also became a Kennedy Center honoree and was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Barack Obama in 2016. Cicely leaves behind an incredible legacy, making her a good role model for a lot of young black kids everywhere. At number 4, Nick Cordero. Nick Cordero was a talented actor who found a lot of success in all sorts of creative avenues. Nick made waves in TV and movies as he played characters in productions like Blue Bloods, Law & Order, and Momtown, and on Broadway where he appeared in shows like Rock of Ages and Waitress. Sadly, Nick passed away in 2020 at the age of only 41 after a long and difficult battle with COVID. Nick's wife Amanda Kloots shared his grueling COVID journey with their followers and kept them updated on his health until the end. There were a lot of complications and sadly he lost his battle, but Amanda now uses her husband's tragic story to advocate for COVID safety and to warn others about the consequences that this pandemic can bring. Nick leaves behind his wife Amanda and their young son Elvin. The actor was taken far too soon as he had so much more creative potential and he will be terribly missed. At number 3, Samuel E. Wright. If you're a fan of Disney animation, then you no doubt know the voice of Samuel E. Wright, best known for playing Sebastian the Crab in the Disney animated film The Little Mermaid. Though this role is what brought him the most fame, Samuel wasn't just known for his Disney role, as some may know him from playing Dizzy Gillespie in Clint Eastwood's Bird, as well as his role in a series of Fruit of the Loom commercials. Samuel began his career on Broadway, making his debut in Jesus Christ Superstar in 1971, and later going on to play Mufasa in The Lion King on Broadway in 1997. As I mentioned, his best known role is for playing Sebastian in The Little Mermaid, and this role is what he's most remembered for. He performed the songs Under the Sea, which won an Oscar for Best Original Song, and Kiss the Girl in the film. Samuel would later go on to talk about his dream to be very successful in Hollywood, where he said, quote, maybe not every actor would say this, but if I didn't want to be immortal, I wouldn't be acting. I do want to make my little mark on the world. An actor's worst nightmare is to hear 10 years from now, Sam Wright, who was Sam Wright? If you have that kind of attitude, you tend to take each role and make it the best role you've ever done. End quote. Samuel passed away on May 24, 2021 at the age of 74 after a 3-year battle with prostate cancer. At number 2, Helen McCrory. Harry Potter fans were devastated to hear about the passing of actress Helen McCrory, who fans recognize as the talented woman who played Narcissa Malfoy in the Harry Potter franchise. Helen sadly passed away on April 16, 2021 at the age of 52 after a difficult battle with cancer. Her acting career first began when she started performing at London's West End before jumping into the film and television industry, where she would go on to star in productions like Harry Potter, of course, as well as Peaky Blinders, The Queen, Interview with the Vampire, and Casanova. Upon her passing, Helen's husband released an emotional statement which read, quote, I'm heartbroken to announce that after a heroic battle with cancer, the beautiful and mighty woman that is Helen McCrory has died peacefully at home, surrounded by a wave of love from friends and family. She died as she lived, fearlessly. God, we love her and know how lucky we are to have had her in our lives. She blazed so brightly. Go on now, little one, into the air, and thank you. Helen leaves behind her husband Damian Lewis as well as their 2 children. And finally, at number 1, Dustin Diamond. Fans of the hit 90s show Saved by the Bell were devastated to hear of the passing of actor Dustin Diamond earlier this year. Dustin, who played Samuel Powers, aka Screech on the show, captivated audiences during its run between 1989 and 1992. Dustin, who was only 44 at the time of his passing, lost his battle with stage 4 lung cancer on February 1st, 2021. Fans learned of Dustin's cancer diagnosis just 3 weeks before the actor passed away. After his passing, Dustin's representative issued a statement to fans as well as to the press where they said, quote, he was diagnosed with this brutal, relentless form of malignant cancer only 3 weeks ago. In that time, it managed to spread rapidly through his system. The only mercy it exhibited was its sharp and swift execution. Dustin did not suffer. He did not have to lie submerged in pain. For that, we are grateful. End quote. The source also said that Dustin passed with his girlfriend by his side and was surrounded by love, which is really all you can ask for at a moment like this. At number 10, Naya Rivera. Former Glee star Naya Rivera passed away last summer in July 2020 at the age of just 33 years old. Naya's death was the result of an accidental drowning after swimming in a dangerous area. On that day, Naya and her son were enjoying a nice day out on the boat when they decided to go swimming. The area in which they were had been reported to have difficult swimming conditions, and so when Naya was trying to save her son and get him back to their boat, she ran out of energy and couldn't keep herself afloat in the water. She mustered up enough energy to get her son back to safety, but she didn't have enough to save herself, and sadly she drowned in the lake. Shortly after the incident took place, reports started to come in of a child seen by himself on a boat, and when authorities arrived on the scene, they began the search for Naya. The rescue mission took days and a lot of equipment, but her body was later found on July 13th. Naya's passing came on the exact day of fellow Glee star Cory Monteith's passing, which took place 7 years earlier. Fans shared an outpouring of support for the Glee star and hailed her a hero for being able to save her son. She was a successful performer and good mom, and she is so dearly missed by her friends, family, and fans. At number 9, Christopher Plummer. Canadian actor Christopher Plummer had a very long and successful career. He provided entertainment in all kinds of different mediums, from film to theater and even voice acting. Christopher first became a largely known celebrity after his role as Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music, and he capped off his Hollywood career by starring in the 2019 film Knives Out, this being his last performance before his passing. Christopher acted in many different genres like dramas, musicals, and even sci-fi. One of his other best known roles was as Klingon General Chang in Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country. For the gamers out there, you might know Christopher for his voice acting as the leader of the Greybeards in Skyrim. This Academy Award-winning actor brought so much fun and entertainment to so many people over the years, and his presence in pop culture was so steady, it almost seemed like he was ingrained in the culture. Fans were devastated to learn of his passing in February of 2021 after he suffered a fall and injured his head. The actor was 91. At number 8, Kirk Douglas. In the golden age of Hollywood, Kirk Douglas was one of the industry's biggest, brightest, and most successful stars. With over 92 acting credits, 75 of those credits being feature films, and 7 of which featured his good friend Burt Lancaster as his co-star, Douglas became a superstar in Hollywood even before people truly knew what that meant. Douglas received his very first Academy Award nomination in 1950 for his role in the film Champion. Later in 1991, Kirk was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute, and he became a Kennedy Center honoree just a few years later in 1994. Fast forward to 1996, and Kirk was awarded an honorary Oscar for his 50 years as a creative and for his moral force in the world of filmmaking. He had an incredibly long and successful career as an actor and lived to be 103. Kirk held on even after suffering a stroke in 1996, but soon as he got older, his health started to decrease until his passing in February 2020. Kirk died of old age, but is survived by his long and outstanding career and his mark on Hollywood. At number 7, Larry King. On January 23, 2021, legendary TV broadcaster Larry King passed away at the age of 87. The Emmy Award-winning host passed away at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in LA after it was revealed to the public that he had been battling COVID-19 for 10 days prior. Larry had a long and successful career that spanned over 6 decades, having interviewed famous people and leaders from Martin Luther King Jr. to Vladimir Putin and so many others in between. His show Larry King Live became the longest running show on CNN, spanning from 1985 to 2010, and even after that, Larry kept working, interviewing, and listening to the stories of so many people from all sides and all walks of life. But other than being a host, he was also something of an actor, and he played himself in a couple of productions, but he also voiced the character Doris in Shrek 2. After his passing, a statement was released which celebrated his life and legacy, with part of it saying, quote, "For 63 years and across the platforms of radio, television, and digital media, Larry's many thousands of interviews, awards, and global acclaim stand as a testament to his unique and lasting talent as a broadcaster." End quote. Upon the news of his passing, messages of condolences started pouring in from many of the celebrities, showing how respected he was and how he will be missed. At number 6, Sebastian Athey. Disney is probably one of the most consistent entertainment outlets around the world. No matter what part of the world you're from, you've probably become a Disney fan at some point or another. Latin American Disney Channel actor Sebastian Athey was a star in a completely different part of the world than my own, and yet we still felt the sadness that came with his sudden passing last summer. Known for his role as soccer player Lorenzo Guerva on the Argentinian Disney show Once, Sebastian was a well-loved and talented guy. Other than being a famed actor, he was also into the music scene. He was a singer, releasing music as recently as 2019. He released his most recent song, Freaking Out, in July 2019, a year before his passing, and before that he released a song through Disney Channel called Play with the Heart. But before he got his big break on the Disney Channel, he got a star on a popular telenovela called La Rosa de Guadalupe, having appeared on 2 episodes between 2014 and 2015 as 2 different characters. He lived a good life, finding a lot of success until his tragic passing on July 4th, 2020, 2020 after suffering from a heart attack at the age of only 24 years old. He will be dearly missed. At number 5, DMX. On April 9th, 2021, legendary rapper and actor DMX, born Earl Simmons, passed away, leaving fans and the entertainment industry devastated. DMX, known for such hits as Get At Me Dog and X Gon Give It To Ya, passed away after suffering a major heart attack following a substance overdose this past spring. The rapper was rushed to hospital on April 2nd and stayed in critical care while fans set up a prayer vigil outside of his hospital until his passing about a week later. DMX, who was only 50 at the time of his death, made huge waves in Hollywood and in the music industry. He rose to fame in the late 90s, and his 1999 album, And Then There Was X, went 5 times platinum, and he was even nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Rap Album in 2001. Other than being a legendary rapper, DMX was also an actor, having been in a handful of films like Belly and Cradle to the Grave. Upon his passing, DMX's family released a statement saying that he was a, quote, warrior who fought till the very end, end quote. The statement also said, quote, he loved his family with all his heart and we cherish the times we spent with him. Earl's music inspired countless fans across the world and his iconic legacy will live on forever. We appreciate all the love and support during this incredibly difficult time, unquote. At number 4, Alex Trebek. After a long and difficult battle with pancreatic cancer, Jeopardy host Alex Trebek passed away on November 8th, 2020 at the age of 80. Alex worked on the game show Jeopardy for the last 35 years and it feels as though we grew up with him. Hearing his voice on the TV in the background or watching the show is something I'm sure many of us remember experiencing. Although Alex is best known as the host of Jeopardy, he also made several cameos in different films like Spy Hard and even appeared as himself in many other productions. He was a ray of positivity until the very end. Alex shared his cancer diagnosis in March 2019, and though he continued his battle, he also continued to be the face of the game show, hosting each round and keeping his loyal fans updated on his health. It felt as though we were all fighting together. Though he was optimistic, he lost his battle last year. The Canadian legend created a worldwide family through television, and he will be missed by all. Thank you, Alex. At number 3, Regis Philbin. The longtime television and game show host Regis Philbin sadly passed away from heart disease at the age of 88 on July 24th, 2020. He was most widely known as a co-host of Live with Regis and Kathy Lee starting in 1988, which became Live with Regis and Kelly in 2001. Regis also made a number of appearances in films throughout his career, appearing as himself in films like Little Nicky and Miss Congeniality 2, as well as voicing the character Mabel in Shrek the Third and Shrek Forever After. Upon his passing, Regis's family shared an exclusive statement with People magazine and said, quote, his family and friends are forever grateful for the time we got to spend with him, for his warmth, for his legendary sense of humor, and his singular ability to make every day into something worth talking about. We thank his fans and admirers for their incredible support over this 60-year career and ask for privacy as we mourn his loss. End quote. At number 2, Ed Asner. Actor Ed Asner was a beloved actor who brought joy and entertainment to the masses. Some may know him from his roles in productions like The Untouchables and The Mary Tyler Moore Show, and others may know him as the man who played Santa in the movie Elf, or grumpy old man Carl from the Pixar movie Up. No matter where you knew him from, you no doubt appreciated his talent. His final few productions were Doom Patrol and Cobra Kai, so he really did bring us entertainment until the end. Ed passed away on August 29, 2021 at the age of 91. And finally, at number 1, Chadwick Boseman. Marvel's Black Panther movie is one of the company's most successful films, and for good reason. I remember when the film was first released, there were so many people going to see it, and so many people from the Black community saying how they felt empowered and represented by this film. It was a big deal and made Black Panther a fan favorite. Chadwick Boseman, the actor who brought King T'Challa to life, also became an icon, so when news broke of his passing last year, fans were absolutely devastated. Chadwick passed away on August 28, 2020 at the age of 43 after a long and difficult battle with stage 4 colon cancer. Other than being cast in the MCU, Chadwick also played some other big roles such as Jackie Robinson in 42, as well as James Brown in Get On Up. His final performance was in the second episode of Marvel's What If series that was released this year, where he reprised his role of King T'Challa one last time. His family released a statement announcing his passing, saying how hard he fought until the end. Fans found out that Chadwick was receiving treatment for his condition at the same time that he was filming Black Panther, showing us how strong he really was. Chadwick really was a king on and off screen, and it's hard to imagine the MCU without him. At number 10, Don Rickles. Back in 2017, Toy Story fans were devastated to hear of the passing of Don Rickles. Don had a long and successful career as a comedian, but what most people remember him for is his role as the voice of Mr. Potato Head in the Toy Story films. Don had been the voice of this beloved character since the very beginning and was part of 3 Toy Story films before his passing at the age of 90. Don Don was set to take up his famous role in the newest installment of the Toy Story series, but sadly he passed away before the script was finished. When the studio was ready to begin production on Toy Story 4, they actually got in contact with Don's family and asked them if they would be willing to give them permission to use old recordings of Don's voice to bring Miss Potato Head to life one last time, to which they agreed, saying, quote, "He always said, keep my name alive, let them know who I am, so he would be thrilled by all of this, definitely." End quote. Toy Story 4 came out with Don's voice playing his beloved character and helping keep his legacy alive. At number 9, Marion Ramsey. Actress Marion Ramsey, best known for her time on Police Academy, passed away on January 7, 2021 at the age of 73. According to sources, the actress passed away in her home in Los Angeles. Her agency rep, Roger Paul Inc., released a statement informing the public of her passing, saying, quote, "Marion carried with her a kindness and permeating light that instantly filled up a room upon her arrival. The dimming of her light is already felt by those who knew her well. We will miss her and always love her." End quote. Marion was best known for her performance as Officer Laverne Hooks in the Police Academy film franchise, beginning with the 1984 original, and then several role reprisals over the years. She was also known as a longtime advocate for HIV and AIDS awareness, and earned a lot of respect and praise for her work in fundraising for the cause. Outside of the film industry and advocacy, she was also known for her Broadway performances in shows like Hello Dolly and Little Shop of Horrors. Before I carry on talking about the rest of these stars, I would like to take a moment to ask you guys to maybe leave a comment down below sending some love to the families of the celebrities that we've lost recently. Loss is never an easy thing, so let's send some positive energy to those affected by their loved ones passing. At number 8, Diana Rigg. Though this actress took on some pretty big and legendary roles, some of her best works came from her time playing Emma Peel in the TV series The Avengers, as well as the wife of James Bond and Olenna Tyrell in Game of Thrones. Diana had a very successful career on screen, but also on stage, as she found success in the life of theater, making her Broadway debut back in 1971. Her life was filled with dozens of theater productions, television series, and films. But her career sadly came to an end upon her passing on September 10, 2020. The actress passed away at the age of 82. Her daughter had reported that the actress passed away from lung cancer after being diagnosed with the disease back in March last year. At number 7, Jason Davis. If you're familiar with the Disney Channel show Recess from the late 90s/early 2000s, then you obviously remember the character Mikey Blumberg. His character was basically the nicest kid on the playground, a lovable guy with a knack for poetry and a good heart, always being the first to forgive people. Mikey's character was voiced by actor Jason Davis for the duration of the show series as well as its spin-off movies, but sadly Jason passed away last year on February 16, 2020 at the age of 35. Other than appearing on the Disney Channel, Jason also had roles in Rush Hour, Beverly Hills Ninja, and Mafia. During his life, Jason did a lot of good for his community as he founded and dedicated himself to an organization called Cure Addiction Now. His organization's goal is to help fund research for those suffering from substance abuse and addiction, and he dedicated the year and a half before his passing to growing this organization. He brought many characters to life and dedicated his time towards helping others, achieving so many wonderful things in his life. At number 6, Deezer D. Actor Deezer D, who was best known for his role on the drama series ER, passed away this year on January 7th, 2021 at the age of just 55 years old. Deezer was a fan favorite among viewers of ER, and his role as Nurse Malik McGrath on the medical series was beloved by many, and as you would expect, fans were shocked and devastated to hear about his unexpected passing. His brother Emery Thompson announced his passing on social media, posting the announcement of his brother's passing to his Instagram account. Reports say that Deezer was found unresponsive in his home in Los Angeles on the morning of January 7th. An official cause of death was not released to the public, however, based on information provided by one of Deezer's other brothers, it is believed that the actor passed away from a heart attack. At number 5, John Reilly. John Reilly had a long, successful career, but sadly the beloved actor passed away at the age of 84 on January 10th, 2021. John began his rise to fame after playing roles on General Hospital and Beverly Hills 90210. John was originally from Chicago, and he started his acting career in the 1960s with guest starring roles on Death Valley Days, Apple's Way, and Gunsmoke. In 1984, his career moved forward and he starred in 6 episodes of Dallas, and from there he went on to portray Sean Donnelly on General Hospital for 11 years. The announcement of the actor's death came from his daughter Caitlin Reilly, who announced the death of her father's passing on Instagram. However, the cause of death was not disclosed. Caitlin's tribute to her father was emotional and sweet as she revealed that she made it in time to hold him and say goodbye, so we know that unfortunately the actor's passing was expected, which makes that a little more painful. At number 4, Cameron Boyce. One of the biggest and most tragic deaths that Disney has faced recently was the passing of actor Cameron Boyce back in 2019. Cameron passed away on July 6, 2019 at the age of only 20 years old. His death came shortly before the premiere of his film Descendants 3, where he played Carlos, the son of Disney villain Cruella de Vil. Before this film, Cameron starred in other hit Disney productions like Jessie and had guest roles on Good Luck Charlie and Shake It Up as well. Cameron was a Disney fan favorite, but he was much more than that outside of the world of film and television. Cameron also loved to help people and and was also a philanthropist. In 2017, Cameron helped raise over $27,000 for the Thirst Project. He aided in efforts to end homelessness. He worked closely with an organization that helped raise awareness and fight against on college campuses. He worked with an organization to help kids with sickle cell disease, and his final humanitarian effort was to partner with an organization to fight against gun violence. Because helping others was something that Cameron loved, his family set up an organization in his name after his passing to, quote, provide young people artistic and creative outlets as alternatives to violence and negativity, and provide resources to make a positive change in the world. Cameron did a lot of good in his life and continues to be someone for people to look up to. At number 3, Charlie Robinson. On July 11, 2021, actor Charlie Robinson passed away at the age of 75. Charlie had a wonderful and long career spanning over 50 years. Over that half century of work, Charlie made a name for himself, mostly thanks to his role as Mac on Night Court, which he is best known for. Sadly though, Charlie suffered from some serious health issues towards the end of his life. The actor had been diagnosed with metastatic adenocarcinoma, a type of aggressive cancer, and as a result of this and septic shock, the actor passed away from cardiac arrest and organ failure. He brought so much entertainment to so many people over the span of his career, and he and his talent was certainly not be forgotten. At number 2, Stan Lee. I'm sure you all know who the legendary Stan Lee was. He was a comic book writer, editor, actor, and producer, known for his creation and involvement in so many iconic Marvel characters. He was always a storyteller, as he enjoyed writing since he was a kid. He credited the books and movies from his childhood for his great success later in life. In 1939, Lee began working for a comic book publisher, which eventually evolved into the coveted Marvel Comics by the 1960s. What made Stan's character so unique is how his comic book heroes had more realistic and flawed qualities in comparison to rival DC Comics. Their success skyrocketed and the Marvel empire grew into what we know it as today. Other than creating these characters, Lee also starred alongside them for many years, as he held cameos in many of the Marvel movie adaptations. For fans of the MCU, Stan's appearance was one Easter egg that we all looked forward to finding. Stan Lee lived an incredibly long and successful life until his death on November 12, 2018 at the age of 95. And at number 1, Michael K. Williams. Actor Michael K. Williams, best known for his role on The Wire, passed away on September 6, 2021 at the age of 54 after being found dead in his penthouse in Brooklyn, New York. According to sources, it is believed that Michael died of a suspected overdose. Michael became a well-known and beloved actor with the success of his time on The Wire, as well as his role on HBO's Boardwalk Empire. His most recent project, Lovecraft Country, brought him even more success, as he was nominated for an Emmy Award for his work in that production as well. Upon the announcement of his death, Michael's rep issued a statement which read, quote, "It is with deep sorrow that the family announces the passing of Emmy-nominated actor Michael Kenneth Williams. They ask for your privacy while grieving this unsurmountable loss. Michael was certainly taken far too soon." At number 8, Sophie. Grammy-nominated pop artist Sophie passed away suddenly at the age of 34 following an accident in Athens, Greece. A trans icon and progressive musician, Sophie was known as a visionary, some calling her a, quote, pioneer of new sound and one of the most influential artists in the last decade. Sophie's debut album, Oil for Every Pearls on Insides, released in 2018, was nominated for a Grammy for Best Dance/Electronic Album. The news of Sophie's sudden passing shocked many of their fans as well as other celebrities, with many of them saying that Sophie was gone too soon. The artist will be remembered for their progressive music and sound and their groundbreaking individuality. And finally at number 1, Prince Philip. Also on April 9th of this year, the world lost the longest serving British consort in history, His Royal Highness Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, at the age of 99. Shortly before his passing, Prince Philip was admitted to St. Bartholomew's Hospital, where he underwent cardiac treatment. Prince Philip was born the Prince of Greece and Denmark on the Greek island of Corfu in 1921, but when he was 18 months old, his family left the country due to political instability, and his uncle Constantine was forced to abdicate as the country's king. Years after first meeting as children in 1934, Prince Philip and Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth II married shortly after the end of World War II, where Prince Philip served in the British Royal Navy. By 2009, he had become the longest-serving British consort and continued to stand by the Queen's side until his passing. Prince Philip officially retired from royal duties in 2017 at the age of 95, and once joked that, quote, he couldn't imagine anything worse than reaching the age of 100. His family said that Prince Philip's sense of humor was the best part about him, so the 4 children, 8 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren he's left behind remember him fondly.
Starting off our list number 10 is Heath Ledger. In 2008, the world suddenly had to mourn the loss of the talented young actor who passed away tragically at the age of 28. News articles broke broke saying that he was found by his masseuse and housekeeper on the floor of his rented apartment in Soho, New York. It was said that emergency crews arrived not long after his body was first found, and they tried to revive him but were unsuccessful. The media started speculating on the cause of his passing, with claims that it may have been an overdose. It wasn't until 2 weeks later that the New York City Medical Examiner's Office released the results of toxicology tests that were performed on his body. The report stated that he passed of an accidental abuse of prescription medications. His family ended up taking his body back to their native Australia, and he was buried next to his grandparents in his hometown, Perth. Taking over the number 9 spot is Mac Miller. It was back in 2018 when the world first heard the horrible news that the rapper had passed away at 26 years old. His passing was ruled as an accidental substance overdose, but there was still a lot of speculation surrounding the situation. A toxicology report released a statement that said he passed due to an accidental overdose of 2 different substances and alcohol. In 2019, 3 men were charged in connection to his passing. One man for allegedly selling counterfeit OxyContin pills that were laced with a stronger substance. Another man for allegedly sourcing the pills that were sold to him, and the details of the third man's relation to the case has not been revealed. It wasn't until later this year that a trial date was officially set for November 16, 2021. The defendants are fighting that they allegedly continued to sell the narcotics after his passing with full knowledge of the risk of their products. Coming into number 8 is Brittany Murphy. She had a huge breakthrough in her career with her role in Clueless, and then continued to win over the hearts in other movies like Uptown Girls, 8 Mile, and Girl Interrupted. Fans were both shocked and saddened to hear the news back in 2009 that the bubbly actress was found deceased in her Los Angeles home. It was at 8 a.m. on December 20th, 2009 that the LA Fire Department responded to a medical request after it was reported that she apparently collapsed in her bathroom. Reports say that firefighters tried to resuscitate her on the scene and that she had to be transported to the hospital when they were unable to do so. Once she was at the hospital, she officially passed away at 10:04 a.m. after going into cardiac arrest at just 32 years old. A few months later, rumors began to spread saying that she had overdosed after the coroner released a report saying that she had been taking a variety of over-the-counter and prescription medications. However, all the substances were legal and her passing was ruled to be an accident. Sliding into number 7 is Cameron Boyce. He first became a child star when playing Luke Ross on the Disney Channel TV series Jessie. From there, he went on to star in movies like Grown Ups and Descendants. Fans were devastated back in 2019 when his family released a statement online saying that the 20-year-old had passed away in his home in Los Angeles due to a seizure, which was the result of an ongoing medical condition. They revealed he had recently been diagnosed with epilepsy and said that he was being treated for it. The tragic news came on July 19th, and his Descendants movie was set to premiere on July 22nd. Disney decided to cancel the red carpet premiere event and honor him in a different way. With permission from his family, Disney Channel announced that they will dedicate the telecast of Descendants 3 in his memory. They also made a donation in his name to the Thirst Project, which is a non-profit that Cameron was heavily involved in that provides communities with safe drinking water. Up next, number 6, we have Selena. Just a few months ago, Netflix released the second part of the biographical series explaining her life and her tragic passing. The series is called Selena the Series and focuses on her legacy, music, and controversy surrounding her life being taken. She was just 23 years old when it was revealed that she had been fatally struck by a bullet in a motel room in Texas back in 1995. There was a big scandal at the time, which led to a woman named Yolanda Saldivar pulling the trigger on Selena. Yolanda was the president of Selena's fan club and manager of her Selena's Inc. boutiques in Texas, and was caught embezzling money from Selena's empire. Reports say Yolanda lured Selena to the motel by promising to finally turn over relevant financial documents. But things got heated and an argument broke out, and when Selena saw that she had a weapon in her purse, she tried to flee from the room. It was then that Yolanda pulled the trigger and struck her in the back. The Netflix series apparently reveals footage from this night. Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Corey Monteith. The young actor was at the height of his career, taking on the lead role in the successful TV series Glee. He was also known for being Lea Michele's boyfriend, who met each other on the set of Glee in 2008 and became love interests on the show and in real life. They were actually together when he sadly passed away on July 13th, 2013 at just 31 years old. Reports released details saying he was found in his room at the Fairmont Hotel in Vancouver. He was scheduled to check out that day, but when he didn't, hotel staff entered his room and discovered his body. His autopsy was later released, and it stated that he passed away from a mix of illegal substances and alcohol. alcohol, but that it appeared to be accidental. After his passing, the production team postponed Glee's 5th season and continued it just months later. On October 10th, 2013, the show aired an episode as a tribute to Corey, which focused on the passing of his character in the show. That way they could continue to talk about his memory in future episodes and seasons. At number 4, we have River Phoenix, the older brother of the successful actor Joaquin Phoenix. River's acting career started when he was just 10 years old when he began working in television commercials. His acting career included 24 films and television appearances, which led to the teen idol status, and he rose to fame. He wasn't just into acting though, he was also known for his singing and guitar skills. In 1988, he got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor in Supporting Role for his role in Running on Empty. The following year, he got a role as young Indiana Jones in Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. His career was at its peak as he continued to book one role after another. Unfortunately, in October 1993, River collapsed outside of an LA nightclub in front of his brothers, Rain and Joaquin. They rushed him to the hospital where doctors announced that he'd officially passed away at just 23 years old. The New York Times shared the report that the coroner found a fatal amount of illegal substances in his system. In the 3rd spot is Aaliyah. She was known for being a triple threat, being successful at singing, acting, and modeling. People were shocked to hear the news that she had passed away in a tragic airplane accident on August 25th, 2001. She was just 22 years old at the time and had been in the Bahamas filming a music video for the single Rock the Boat. She was on the plane with 7 other passengers and the pilot, all of whom passed away in this accident. They all boarded a small plane that was set to return back to Florida, but the aircraft was said to be smaller than the original aircraft that was meant to fly them. Reports say one pilot was warning them there was too much weight for a safe flight since they brought a bunch of filming equipment with them as well. It was later revealed it was actually 700 pounds overweight and the pilot was actually not qualified to fly that aircraft. The aircraft took off and only 200 meters away from the runway. After just a few seconds, it crashed. Her autopsy later revealed that she passed away from severe burns and a fatal blow to the head. Next up at number 2 is Avicii. The DJ was an award-winning musician at the height of his career when he passed away at the age of 28 years old. The horrific news was announced on April 20th, 2018 and revealed that he had taken his own life. The official cause was reported to be blood loss from self-inflicted wounds. Although he had reached insane amounts of fame, success, and wealth, behind the scenes he was struggling with anxiety, depression, and an alcohol addiction. After the news broke, his family confirmed the news that he had in fact taken his own life and shared that he was battling his addiction for years, which is why he quit touring in 2016. In the documentary Avicii: True Stories, it showed that his addiction had put him in the hospital while he was in Australia on tour. In the documentary, Avicii spoke about it and said he was given medication for pancreatitis and started taking 20 pills a day and got addicted to them. Reports say that he was actually working on new music at the time of his passing. Last but not least, at number 1, we have Amy Winehouse. It was in July of 2011 that the news broke that the singer had passed away at 27 years old. She was known for her unique voice and the soul and jazz in her music, which stood out against the usual pop music that we hear all the time. She had been very candid about her struggle with substance abuse and alcohol addiction, releasing the hit song Rehab in 2006, which has lived on as one of the most iconic songs to this day. But her addiction is what eventually led to her passing. It was said that at the time she was sober from substances, but that she turned to alcohol more instead because of it. Her body was found in the afternoon that day in her London home. Reports say that she was found by paramedics fully clothed with a laptop on her bed and empty bottles of vodka on the floor. The coroner revealed that she had a fatal amount of alcohol in her blood, that it shut down her respiratory system, and her passing was deemed to be alcohol poisoning. Dr. Shirley Radcliffe said that she voluntarily consumed the alcohol, which was a deliberate act that just took an unexpected turn. Also guys, she has a documentary out on Crave, I believe. I just watched it last weekend and it is incredible. You should watch it.
Starting us off at number 10, Paul Walker. Known for his role in the Fast and Furious franchise, Paul Walker sadly passed away in November of 2013 after being involved in a car crash at the age of 40. He was a father, outdoorsman, adrenaline junkie, and an amazing actor. His death came to an abrupt end at his charity fundraiser where he was raising money for relief efforts for the victims of the devastating Philippines typhoon. Those who witnessed the crash report Paul getting into the car with his friend behind the wheel as they took off in the red Porsche. They crashed just a few blocks away from the venue and the car burst into flames. At number 9, Michael Jackson. Where were you when you heard the news? The world stood still for a moment when news broke of Michael Jackson's passing on June 25, 2009. Michael was only 50 when he died of cardiac arrest. The King of Pop had just been rehearsing for his upcoming tour when the tragedy struck. His personal physician had administered lethal doses of propofol and benzodiazepine, which led him to fall unconscious and into cardiac arrest. Michael Jackson was pronounced dead hours after being found in his bedroom. His physician Conrad Murray was convicted of involuntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Many of Michael's fans continue to support him to this day, and he is greatly missed. Coming in at number 8, Heath Ledger. Critically acclaimed actor Heath Ledger passed away January 22, 2008 in his apartment in Soho, New York. Ledger died following an accidental overdose on prescription drugs at the age of just 28 years old. His death came shortly after filming Wrapped on the Dark Knight film, in which Heath played the Joker. In interviews after wrapping up his Joker character, he revealed that the role was quite hard for him and that he was prescribed drugs to deal with the pain and insomnia. Following his death, he was heavily scrutinized as many people believed that he was abusing illegal substances. Heath was given a memorial service in New York and LA, and then was buried in Perth next to his grandparents. Coming in at number 7, Tupac Shakur. Tupac was a powerhouse in the rap community in the 90s. His career flourished until his death in September 1996, after being shot by 6 assailants. Tupac spent 6 days in the hospital following the shooting, where he later died from his injuries. To this day, the people who shot Tupac have never been identified or arrested, and his case remains cold. Although there have been many theories as to what happened, nothing's been proven and justice remains to be served. His most popular album, All Eyes on Me, continues to be enjoyed by fans, and a biographical film has also been made retelling his life, also by the same name. In at number 6, Chi DeVayne. RuPaul's Drag Race alum Chi DeVayne passed away in August of this year after ongoing health problems. Chi, whose real name is Xavion Davenport, had been battling a lung infection since July. Her illness turned into pneumonia, and she was later readmitted to hospital in August, where she later died at the age of 34. Chi-Chi's death has greatly impacted the drag community, and many have taken to the internet to show support for Chi-Chi's loved ones, as well as to show their fond memories of the drag queen. Chi-Chi's legacy has inspired so many, and she will be greatly missed. Coming in at number 4, Cameron Boyce. Disney Channel star Cameron Boyce passed away July 6, 2019, at the age of just 20 years old. Cameron, who had been dealing with a chronic medical condition, suffered a seizure in his sleep, which ended up being fatal. When paramedics found Boyce, he was unresponsive and they were unable to resuscitate the actor. His death came just before the premiere of the movie Descendants 3 and during filming of his new HBO series Fletcher. His death prompted an outpouring of love and support for his family, as they remembered how he brought them joy in so many memorable moments on and off screen. Cameron's passing came too soon, as he showed so much potential and talent, and he could have seen so much success. At number 3, Naya Rivera. Former Glee star Naya Rivera passed away in July of this year at the age of 33. Naya's death was the result of an accidental drowning. Naya and her son were enjoying a day out on a boat when they decided to go swimming. The area in which they were has reportedly difficult swimming conditions, and so when Naya was trying to save her son and get him back onto their boat, she ran out of energy and couldn't keep herself afloat. She mustered up enough energy to get her son back to safety, but she didn't have enough to save herself, and she drowned in the lake. Shortly after the incident took place, reports came of a child by himself on a boat, and when authorities arrived on the scene, they began the search for Naya. The rescue mission took days and a lot of equipment, but her body was later found on July 13th. Naya's passing came on the exact day of fellow Glee star Corey Monteith's passing just 7 years later. Fans showed an outpouring of support for the Glee star and hailed her a hero for being able to save her son. In at number 2, Kobe Bryant. Basketball legend Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash on January 26th of this year at the age of 41. Kobe and his daughter Gianna and 7 others, including Gianna's teammates and the pilot, were all killed from blunt force trauma from the crash. The helicopter was flying in poor weather conditions as thick fog and clouds were reported that day. Witnesses say that they heard the chopper overhead, followed by a loud noise and then silence. Then the hill in which they crashed engulfed in flames. When authorities made their way to the crash site, there were no survivors. Kobe left behind a family and friends in mourning. At his memorial service, the world watched as Kobe's closest friends and family grieved the loss of such an icon. Known for his basketball career and also his service to his community, the world lost one of the greats far too soon. Finally, at number 1, Chadwick Boseman. On August 28th, the world lost actor Chadwick Boseman to cancer at the age of 43. Chadwick, who was known for his many amazing on-screen roles like Black Panther in the Marvel movies, Jackie Robinson, and James Brown, brought so many iconic black icons to character on the big screen. He was known as a hero to so many, not only for providing an incredible role model for young black kids to look up to, but also because of his resilience following his battle with cancer. Chadwick had been fighting through a 4-year-long battle with colon cancer at the time of his death. Through his diagnosis and treatment stemming back to 2016, he brought us so many performances and no one knew about what he was going through behind the scenes. Although people ridiculed his appearance and dramatic weight loss towards the end, Boseman kept his chin up and fought as hard as he could. I know what it's like to watch someone battle this kind of cancer, so to find out that he was doing all of that while continuing to give 100% in his performances makes him a hero to me.
Regis Philbin. The longtime television and game show host Regis Philbin sadly passed away from heart disease at the age of 88 on July 24th. He's most widely known as the co-host of the New York City-based nationally syndicated talk show called Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, starting in 1988, which became Live with Regis and Kelly in 2001. However, I will always remember him as the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. His family also shared an exclusive statement with People magazine and said, "His family and friends are forever grateful for the time that we got to spend with him, for his warmth, his legendary sense of humor, and his singular ability to make every day into something worth talking about. We thank his fans and admirers for their incredible support over his 60-year career and ask for privacy as we mourn his loss."
Hey guys, I'm Mackenzie, and now on to the next one. So next up we have Conchata Ferrell. So Conchata Ferrell, best known for her role as Bertha, the housekeeper on 2.5 Men, passed away at the age of 77 on October 12th of 2020. She peacefully passed in a Sherman Oaks hospital after she had complications following a cardiac arrest. She was surrounded by loved ones. 2.5 Men creator and executive producer Chuck Lorre spoke of her highly, saying in a statement, quote, "We called her Chatty, and we all loved her. 12 years of highs and lows, and lots of laughter. Through it all, she was a rock, one of the greats. I was privileged to call her a friend."
Hey guys, I'm your other host, Spree Room, and I'll be bringing you some more of the unfortunate passings that happened in Hollywood this year. Alex Trebek. After a long and difficult battle with pancreatic cancer, Jeopardy host Alex Trebek passed away on November 8th at the age of 80. Alex worked on the game show Jeopardy for the last 35 years, and it feels as though we grew up with him. I'm sure I can speak for many people when I say that Alex was one consistency in all of our lives. Hearing his voice on the TV in the background or watching the show is something that I'm sure many of us remember experiencing. He was a ray of positivity all the way to the end. Alex first shared his cancer diagnosis in March 2019, and though he continued his battle with cancer, he also continued being the face of the game show, hosting each round and also keeping his loyal fans updated on his health. It felt as though we were all fighting together. Though he was optimistic, he lost his battle this year. The Canadian legend created a worldwide family through television, and he will be missed by all. Thank you, Alex.
Next up, we have Naya Rivera. Naya was a triple threat. She was an actress, a singer, and a model who was very successful at all three of her talents. She got her breakthrough role back in 2009 when she was cast in the TV series Glee, where she played her character until 2015. Outside of acting, she was also signed to Columbia Records as a solo artist and also published a memoir titled Sorry Not Sorry, Dreams, Mistakes, and Growing Up. She was always working on new projects in all avenues of her career, which is only one of the reasons why she was so successful. Sadly, Naya passed away earlier this year in July while swimming with her 4-year-old son. Reports say they got caught in a current and she found the energy to get her son back on the boat but was unable to save herself. Fans say this just shows the type of mother she was and that she left the world not as a cheerleader like her Glee character, but as a hero.
Next up, Kirk Douglas. In the golden age of Hollywood, Kirk Douglas was one of their biggest and brightest stars, with more than 92 acting credits including some 75 movies, 7 of which co-starred his friend Burt Lancaster. Douglas became a superstar even before the term was coined. His very first Academy Award nomination came in 1950 for his role in the film Champion. In 1991, he was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute and became a Kennedy Center honoree in 1994. Fast forward to 1996 and Kirk was being awarded an honorary Oscar for 50 years as a creative and moral force in the film community. He had an incredible career as an actor and lived to be 103. Surprisingly enough, he had been in good health until suffering from a stroke in 1996, which ultimately began to deplete his health until he passed from old age on February 5th, 2020.
Next up we have Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman, best known for his role in Black Panther, playing T'Challa, passed away on August 28th at the age of 43, and his passing was a shock to many, as we learned after the fact that he had been silently battling colon cancer for years before his passing. Also, we learned what a selfless and kind person that he was, with Sienna Miller revealing that Boseman actually topped up her salary with his own money on the film 21 Bridges to ensure that she was paid fairly. And since he was such a huge part of the Black Panther films, fans have been wondering what will happen next in the series. And Marvel has stated that they will not recast out of respect, but they still plan to go ahead with the sequel. Boseman also posthumously received the Hero for the Ages Award at the MTV Movie and TV Awards, where he was honored by Robert Downey Jr. and Don Cheadle.
Sean Connery. Sir Sean Connery was best best known for playing the suave and sultry James Bond. He was the first to bring the iconic character to life and starred in 7 Bond films. His successful career spanned 70 years and even won him an Oscar in 1988 for his role in The Untouchables. He passed away peacefully in his sleep on October 31st while in the Bahamas. The Scottish actor was surrounded by his family at the time of his passing, and though he is no longer with us, we will never forget his talent. His talent defined an era and style, and the charm he portrayed on screen is something that defined who he was as a performer. Sean captivated audiences and inspired other generations of actors as well. He was not just 007, but a mentor in a way for so many, and he will be so missed.
Moving on, we have Diana Rigg. She took on some of the most legendary roles on the screen. Some of her most notable ones being Emma Peel in the TV series The Avengers, the wife of James Bond, and Olenna Tyrell in Game of Thrones. She had a successful career on the screen, but also on the stage as she propelled in the life of theater, making her Broadway debut back in 1971. Her life was filled with countless amounts of theater productions, television series, and films. But her career came to an end just a few months ago on September 10th, 2020, when it was announced that she had passed away at the age of 82. Her daughter had reported that the cause of death was lung cancer and explained she had been diagnosed back in March.
Coming up next, Grant Imahara. Grant was not only an electrical engineer and roboticist, he also hosted the popular science show called Mythbusters. While he was a member of the Mythbusters team, Grant went skydiving, drove stunt cars, and came into contact with some of the most iconic characters in cinema history. For 9 years, he worked at Lucasfilms and helped with the company's THX and Industrial Light and Magic divisions. During that time, he became the chief model maker with a specialization in animatronics. Some of his most notable work was on the Star Wars prequels, as well as The Matrix Reloaded, Galaxy Quest, Van Helsing, and Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. According to reports, Grant had apparently suffered from a brain aneurysm that ultimately led to his passing at the age of 49.
Next up, Corey LeBerry. Corey LeBerry was a popular YouTuber with close to 400,000 subscribers on his main channel, as well as 200,000 subscribers on his joint channel with Crawford Collins. This one hit especially hard for me because I actually watched Corey and his entire friend group on YouTube, but Corey sadly passed away on May 10th, 2020, his 25th birthday, when he was a passenger in a car crash. The car was being driven by Ink Masters Daniel Silva, and authorities later confirmed that Silva was drinking and driving, along with speeding, and this caused him to lose control and crash the car. LeBerry died of his injuries, and Silva has since been sentenced to a year in jail and 5 years probation after pleading no contest to 1 count of gross vehicular manslaughter.
Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's death was one of the first to hit us hard this year. The basketball legend passed away on January 26 after being involved in a helicopter crash. The crash happened after Kobe, his daughter Gianna, her teammates, parents, and coach were returning from a basketball tournament when they encountered thick fog and harsh flying conditions. Kobe's death was sudden and tragic, and he left behind his wife and young family. His funeral was broadcast live, and many of his fans tuned in to say their final goodbye to the NBA legend. The famed Lakers player was known for his talent on court, but also for his generosity as he gave back to his community and supported organizations that encouraged reading initiatives, building houses, donating food, and was a spokesperson for an organization that provided after-school programs for kids. Kobe did a lot for this world, so now it's his time to rest as we keep his memory and Mamba legacy alive.
Next up, we have Ethan Peters. The beauty community quickly fell in love with his makeup skills and personality. He was gaining a large following across multiple platforms for his edgy makeup art and his unique style. People loved seeing him vlog about his life, and many people supported his clothing line called Hellboy. It seemed like he was going to take over the online beauty world since his career was on the rise, but then the sad news was announced that he had passed away at a very young age of 17. His cause of death remained a speculation, and details were not released other than the fact that he passed away in his home on September 5th, 2020. Some of his friends came forward and revealed that he had been struggling with a addiction behind the scenes, so the cause of death is likely to be related to his addiction. However, it was never confirmed.
Coming up next, Irfan Khan. This one was quite devastating to say the least because of how young he was at the time. Irfan was only 53 years old when he passed from a colon infection. In 2018, the actor revealed that he had been diagnosed with a neuroendocrine tumor, which affects cells that release hormones into the bloodstream. He was not only one of India's most talented actors, he also had a massive career for himself in America as well. Wes Anderson adored his talent so much that he specifically wrote him a part in a movie just to work with the actor. Although to many he was the biggest talent in Bollywood and was known for his nuanced and understated performances. In 2013 he won India's National Film Award for his leading role in Pansang Tomar, a biopic about a top athlete who becomes a bandit. Some of his other Bollywood hits included Lunchbox and Hindi Medium.
Next up, Eddie Van Halen. The rock icon sadly passed away on October 6th of 2020 at the age of 65. His passing happened after a long-fought battle with multiple forms of cancer, but mostly lung cancer. Although his death certificate obtained by TMZ showed a stroke was his actual cause of death at the time. In a recent interview, his son Wolfgang revealed that his dad had been told he had 6 weeks to live in 2017 when he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. After receiving the diagnosis, Van Halen went to Germany for treatment, and the doctors in Germany were able to give him 3 more years.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away on September 18th at the age of 87 after a battle with metastatic pancreatic cancer. Other than being one of the oldest Supreme Court justices and the second woman to ever sit in the Supreme Court, she was also a feminist and did a lot for women's rights. RBG is the reason women in the U.S. don't need a male co-signer at the bank and can be accepted into state-funded schools. She made efforts to secure equal pay for women and was a crucial vote in keeping Roe v. Wade. She fought to protect pregnant women in the workplace and argued that women should serve on juries. RBG was a force in securing basic rights for women, and she's done so much to preserve her work. Other than fighting for women, she also fought for the LGBT community and was a crucial vote in granting gay marriage. She did a lot for so many people, and she will be missed.
In our next spot is Chi DeVayne. She became a household name in the world of drag queens after appearing on the reality TV series RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars. She was on the 8th season and quickly gained international attention for her talent and personality. Following her time on the show, her career skyrocketed into success and she appeared on several drag series. Despite her success, she was battling an illness throughout her career after being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease back in 2018. After battling it out for 2 years with a smile on her face, she caught pneumonia in 2020 and her body just could not fight it off. She was rushed to the hospital on July 17th with kidney failure, but underwent some treatment and was actually able to go home. Sadly, 4 weeks later, she was readmitted after getting pneumonia and passed away from kidney failure at the age of 34.
Coming up next, Rocky Johnson. Not only was he the father of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but Rocky had built a successful career in the world of wrestling entertainment in his own right. The 75-year-old Canadian professional wrestler had shattered racial barriers in his career and knocked down plenty of legendary opponents along the way. On his way to becoming the first black champion in places like Georgia and Texas, he often had to work with wrestlers who were racist. Even when promoters wanted him to adjust his character to be more black, Rocky refused and said that regardless of his gimmick, his athleticism came first. Johnson was even inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2008 for his legendary career. Towards the end of his life, Rocky had been battling with a bad cold as well as a blood clot in his leg. Although on January 15, 2020, that blood clot had broken free, traveled up his body, and went right into his lung. Due to this happening, he passed very quickly from a massive heart attack.
Next up, Kelly Preston. Kelly Preston sadly passed away on July 12th at the age of 57 after a 2-year battle with breast cancer. Following the news, Kelly's husband, John Travolta, posted a heartfelt message on Instagram, writing, quote, "It's with a very heavy heart that I inform you that my beautiful wife Kelly has lost her 2-year battle with breast cancer," adding she fought a courageous fight with the love and support of so many. With him also thanking the doctors that helped treat her for years.
Nick Cordero. Nick Cordero was an actor who found a lot of success on and off stage. On TV, he played characters in productions like Blue Bloods and Law & Order, and on Broadway he appeared in shows like Rock of Ages and Waitress. Sadly, Nick passed away this year at the age of 41 after a long and difficult battle with COVID-19. Nick's wife Amanda Kloots shared his COVID journey with their followers and kept them updated on his health until the end. There were a lot of complications and he lost his battle, but Amanda now uses her husband's tragic story to advocate for COVID safety and to warn others about the consequences that this virus can bring. Nick leaves behind his wife Amanda and their young son Elvis. Nick brought smiles and entertainment to so many people, and he will be in our thoughts.
Coming up next is Alex Pullen. The Olympian snowboarder competed in the Winter Olympics in 2010, 2014, and 2018, and was a 2-time snowboard cross world champion. He started snowboarding at a young age and knew that snowboard cross was something he wanted to compete in. He ended up announcing his retirement in 2020, but sadly it was the same year his life would come to an end as well. On July 8th, he passed away at the age of 32. When fans heard the news, most people assumed it may have been sport injury related, but it was actually a spearfishing accident. He had been spearfishing by himself at an artificial reef on Palm Beach and drowned unexpectedly. He often spent time in the water, so it was shocking to hear that another diver found him unconscious and without an oxygen mask on. Paramedics tried to resuscitate him for 45 minutes, but he did not recover. He was pronounced dead on the scene at just 32 years old.
At number 10, Sebastian Sebastian Athey. No matter where you are in the world, Disney makes an impact. Latin American Disney Channel actor Sebastian Athey was a star in a completely different part of the world than my own, and yet we all feel the sadness that came after his sudden passing last summer. Known for his role as soccer player Lorenzo Guerra on the Argentinian Disney show Once, Sebastian was well loved and a talented guy. Other than being a famed actor, he was also into the music scene. He was a singer releasing music as recently as 2019. He released his most recent song Freaking Out in July of 2019, and before that he released a song through Disney Channel called Play with the Heart. But before he got his big break on the Disney Channel, he got his start on a popular telenovela called La Rosa de Guadalupe, having appeared on 2 episodes between 2014 and 2015 as 2 different characters. He lived a good life, finding a lot of success until his tragic passing on July 4th, 2020, after suffering from a heart attack at the age of 24. He will be dearly missed. At number 9, Don Rickles. Toy Story fans were devastated to hear of the passing of Don Rickles back in 2017. Don had a long and successful career as a comedian, but I think what most people remember him for is his role as the voice of Mr. Potato Head in the Toy Story films. He had voiced the character since the very beginning and was part of 3 Toy Story films before his passing at the age of 90. Don was set to take up his famous role in the newest installment of the Toy Story series, but sadly he passed away before the script was finished. When the studio was ready to begin production on Toy Story 4, they actually asked Don's family if they would be willing to give them permission to use old recordings of Don's voice to bring Mr. Potato Head to life one last time, to which they agreed, saying, quote, "He always said, keep my name alive, let them know who I am, so he would be thrilled by all of this, definitely," end quote. Toy Story 4 came out with Don's voice playing his beloved character and helping to keep his legacy alive. I don't know about you guys, but there's no one else that I could see playing this part, so I'm glad they were able to do this. Thanks for being part of our childhoods, Don. Now before I carry on with the video, please consider leaving a like to help out the channel, and also check out my channel Viper Girl for some gaming content as well. At number 8, Nikita Pearl Waligwa. Actress Nikita Pearl Waligwa, known for her role as Gloria in the Disney movie Queen of Katwe, sadly passed away in February 2020 at the age of 15. Nikita had been on a long journey battling a brain tumor from 2016 and again in 2019 after another tumor was discovered. Queen of Katwe's director Mira Nar actually helped to organize funds for Nikita's treatment during filming, showing how much the cast and crew cared for her. She played a role in a powerful film with powerful women, and she will always be remembered for that. She fought bravely through it all, and that will be something people remember. At number 7, Stan Lee. Stan Lee was a comic book writer, editor, actor, and producer known for his creation and involvement in many iconic Marvel characters. He was always a storyteller, as he enjoyed writing since he was a kid. He credited the books and movies from his childhood for his great success later in life. In 1939, Lee began working for a comic book publisher, which eventually evolved into the coveted Marvel Comics by the 1960s. What made Stan's character so unique was how his comic book heroes had more realistic and flawed qualities in comparison to rival DC Comics. Their success skyrocketed, and the Marvel empire grew into what we know it as today. Other than creating these characters, Lee also starred alongside them for many years, as he held cameos in many of the Disney movies. And since Disney owns Marvel, this makes Stan an honorary Disney star. For fans of the MCU, Stan's appearance was one Easter egg that we all looked forward to finding. Stan Lee lived an incredibly long and successful life until his death on November 12, 2018 at the age of 95. At number 6, Jason Davis. If you're familiar with the Disney Channel show Recess from the late 90s/early 2000s, then you would obviously remember the character Mikey Blumberg. He was basically the nicest kid on the playground, a lovable guy with a knack for poetry and a good heart, always being the first to forgive people. Mikey was voiced by actor Jason Davis for the duration of the show's series, as well as its spin-off movies. Sadly, Jason passed away February 16, 2020 at the age of 35 due to effects caused by fentanyl usage. Other than appearing on the Disney Channel, Jason also had roles in Rush Hour, Beverly Hills Ninja, and Mafia. During his life, Jason founded and dedicated himself to an organization called Cure Addiction Now. His organization's goal was to help fund research for those suffering from substance abuse and addiction, and he dedicated the year and a half before his passing to growing this organization. Before his passing, he was also working on a new show called The Two Jasons. He brought many characters to life and dedicated his time towards helping others, achieving so many wonderful things in his life. At number 5, Carrie Fisher. The world was shocked by actress Carrie Fisher's tragic passing. Having been beloved by so many, her passing affected so many people. Carrie passed away on December 27, 2016 at the age of 60 after having suffered a heart attack. Carrie was no doubt known for her role in the Star Wars franchise, playing Princess Leia. Since Disney bought Star Wars, this technically made her a Disney princess, which just made her that much cooler. Carrie began her Star Wars career at the age of 19, and it stuck with her for her whole life. When approached about the idea of portraying Leia again in 2015's The Force Awakens, she said, quote, "I knew that something enormous was likely going to impact my life in this film, and that there was absolutely no way of understanding what that was or likely be. This was her defining role, and there was no way that it would let her go." She brought Leia's bad character to life even after her passing, as the studio was able to bring her back to life on the big screen one last time in The Rise of Skywalker, which was released 3 years after her death. Though she had her struggles in life, which she opened up about, she was still an icon and is still dearly missed. At number 4, Chadwick Boseman. Marvel's Black Panther movie is one of their most successful films. I remember when it was first released and there were so many people going to see it, and so many people from the Black community saying how they felt empowered and represented by this film. It was a big deal and made Black Panther a fan favorite. Chadwick Boseman, the actor who brought King T'Challa to life, also became an icon, so when the news of his passing broke last year, fans were devastated. Chadwick passed away on August 28, 2020 at the age of 43 after a long and difficult battle with stage 4 colon cancer. Other than being cast in the MCU, Chadwick also played some big roles such as Jackie Robinson in 42, as well as James Brown in Get On Up. His family released a statement announcing his passing, saying how hard he fought until the end. Fans found out that Chadwick was receiving treatment for his condition at the same time that he was filming Black Panther, showing us how strong he really was. Chadwick really was a king on and off screen, and it's hard to imagine the MCU without him. At number 3, Robin Williams. Actor and comedian Robin Williams put a smile on everyone's face. He had the ability to captivate an audience so easily and always left an impression on every single one of his fans. Though he had a long and successful career, he also spent some time working with Disney, portraying a number of characters. He worked on projects like Popeye, Good Morning Vietnam, Good Will Hunting, Back to Neverland, Flubber, and more. His most notable Disney production, however, was Aladdin. Robin voiced the genie, bringing that magical blue goof to life in the most entertaining way. The genie was always meant to be played by Robin, as the character was even written with him in mind, and he brought the character to life in both the original Aladdin and the sequel, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. Sadly, Robin passed away on August 11, 2014 after he took his own life. Though it was originally reported that he suffered from depression, his wife later clarified that he was really suffering from a condition called DLB, saying that Robin's depression was one of many symptoms of DLB. Robin played a big part in many of our childhoods, as he starred in so many films that we watched as kids, and we thank him for that. At number 2, Lee Thompson Young. Though you may not recognize the name, you will surely recognize his face. If you grew up watching the Disney Channel in the late 90s and 2000s, then you might be familiar with Lee Thompson Young. Lee got his breakout role in the Disney Channel series The Famous Jet Jackson, where he played the famous action TV star Jet Jackson. This role was the first major role he got, and it set him up to have a successful career with Disney. After his time filming Jet Jackson, as well as its spin-off films, Lee then went on to star in the hit Disney Channel movie Johnny Tsunami and the subsequent film Johnny Kabahala Back on Board. After leaving Disney, he went on to star in different shows like Smallville, where he played Victor Stone, aka Cyborg, and in Rizzoli and Isles, where he played Detective Barry Frost. His role on Rizzoli and Isles was the last role that Lee had before his passing in 2013, where he took his own life. Lee had reportedly been struggling with his mental health, and so when he passed away, his family set up a foundation in his name called the Lee Thompson Young Foundation, with the goal of removing the stigma around mental illness. If you're ever struggling with your mental health, please reach out to someone or call a local crisis hotline. You are not alone. And finally, at number 1, Cameron Boyce. One of the biggest and most tragic deaths that Disney has faced recently was the passing of actor Cameron Boyce back in 2019. Cameron passed away on July 6, 2019 at the age of 20. His passing came just shortly before the premiere of his film Descendants 3, where he played Carlos, the son of Disney villain Cruella de Vil. Before this film, Cameron had starred in other Disney productions like Jessie and had guest roles on Good Luck Charlie and Shake It Up. Cameron was a Disney fan favorite, but he was so much more than that outside of the world of film and television. He was also a philanthropist. In 2017, Cameron helped raise over $27,000 for the Thirst Project. He aided in an effort to end homelessness. He worked closely with an organization that helped raise awareness and fight against on college campuses. He worked with an organization to help kids with sickle cell disease, and his final humanitarian effort was to partner with an organization to help fight against gun violence. Because helping others was something that Cameron loved, his family set up an organization in his name after his passing to, quote, provide young people artistic and creative outlets as alternatives to violence and negativity, and provide resources to make a positive change in the world. Cameron did a lot of good in his life and continues to be someone for people to look up to.